A second chance. The small coastal town of West Haven had always felt timeless. It was the kind of place where the crashing waves could drown out the noise of modernity, and where the salty air carried memories rather than whispers of the present. For Amelia Hart and Daniel Cross, West Haven was their childhood sanctuary, a town that bore witness to their first scraped knees, wild teenage escapades, and most poignantly, the bond that only two inseparable friends could share. But time, as it often does, had unraveled their closeness. Amelia moved away after high school, chasing dreams of city life and a career in publishing. Daniel stayed, taking over his family's boat repair business. They wrote letters at first, long, heartfelt accounts of their lives and dreams. Then the letters became sporadic emails, which eventually faded into the occasional social media update. Life, as they both knew, had a way of pulling people apart. Amelia married Mark, a charming lawyer she met during her early years in New York. They had 2 children and a beautiful home in the suburbs, a picture-perfect life from the outside. But inside, their marriage had grown distant. A relationship of polite conversations and scheduled obligations rather than genuine intimacy. Daniel had married Sarah, a local artist with a heart as big as the ocean. They'd shared a love of quiet sunsets and spontaneous adventures. But their marriage, too, had weathered storms. Sarah's battle with chronic illness had drained them both emotionally, and though Daniel's loyalty never wavered, their bond had grown strained under the weight of constant caregiving. Neither Amelia nor Daniel thought much about the other in their daily lives, until West Haven's annual summer festival brought them back to the place where it had all begun. Amelia stood on the edge of the town square, her heart pounding as she scanned the crowd. She hadn't been back to West Haven in years, and nostalgia hit her with the force of a gale. The laughter of children chasing kites, the smell of fried dough from food stands, and the faint strains of a local band playing on the makeshift stage. It all felt achingly familiar. And then she saw him. Daniel was leaning against a food cart, talking to an older man she vaguely recognized from their childhood. His hair was flecked with gray now, and the lines on his face spoke of years well-lived, but not without hardship. Still, his smile was the same, warm, unguarded, and utterly disarming. Amelia hesitated, suddenly unsure. What was she expecting from this encounter? She had reached out on a whim when she saw his post about attending the festival. Now, standing there, she felt like a teenager again, nervous and uncertain. Amelia? She turned, startled to find him standing right in front of her. He looked at her as if trying to reconcile the girl he had known with the woman before him. Daniel, her voice was soft, almost a whisper. For a moment, they just looked at each other, the years collapsing into a silence that was both awkward and familiar. Then he smiled, and it was as if no time had passed at all. They spent the afternoon walking along the shoreline, talking about everything and nothing. Amelia told him about her children, Ella, 10, and Max, 7, and her work at a publishing house. Daniel shared stories about the boats he repaired and the new fishing routes he'd discovered. But beneath the surface of their easy conversation lay unspoken questions, ones neither of them dared to voice. That evening, they found themselves at the festival's bonfire, sitting a little too close on a driftwood log. The firelight danced in Amelia's eyes as she laughed at one of Daniel's stories, and he felt a pang of something he couldn't quite name. "Do you ever think about how different life could have been?" she asked suddenly, her voice tinged with melancholy. Daniel hesitated, staring into the flames. "Sometimes," he admitted, "but I try not to dwell on it." "What's the point?" Amelia nodded, but her gaze lingered on him. "Still, I wonder." Over the next few days, they spent more time together. They explored their old haunts, reminiscing about childhood adventures and sharing stories they hadn't told anyone else. There was an ease between them, but also an undercurrent of tension, a sense that they were skirting the edges of something forbidden. On the third evening, they found themselves on the old dock where they used to fish as kids. The moonlit water stretched endlessly before them, and the silence felt heavier than usual. "I've missed this," Amelia said finally. "Missed what?" "You. Us." She looked at him, her eyes searching his face. "I didn't realize how much until now." Daniel turned to her, his expression unreadable. "Amelia, we're different people now. We have families, responsibilities. This, whatever this is, it can't go anywhere." "I know," she said, her voice barely audible. But even as she said it, she reached for his hand and he didn't pull away. Their connection deepened in the days that followed, and with it came a growing sense of guilt. Amelia couldn't shake the image of Mark at home, oblivious to her turmoil. Daniel thought of Sarah, who had always trusted him without question. One evening, as they watched the sunset from a quiet bluff, Amelia broke the silence. "This isn't fair to them," she said, her voice trembling. "No, it's not," Daniel agreed. "But I can't stop thinking about you." He looked at her, his heart torn. "Amelia, you were my best friend. You still are. But this, we can't rewrite the past. We can't undo the lives we've built." Tears welled in her eyes, but she nodded. "I know. I needed to say it." When the festival ended, they said their goodbyes with a bittersweet finality. Daniel watched Amelia drive away, feeling a mix of relief and heartbreak. In the months that followed, they didn't speak, but their brief reconnection had left an indelible mark on both of them. Amelia returned to her life with a newfound determination to rebuild her marriage, to find the intimacy she had long missed. Daniel, too, found a renewed sense of purpose, devoting himself to Sarah and their shared moments of quiet beauty. Though their paths had diverged, the bond they shared remained, a reminder of what once was, and a testament to the power of love in all its forms. And in their hearts, they carried the memory of West Haven and the fleeting chance they had been given, a second chance, not to rekindle what was lost, but to rediscover themselves.